What is up, YouTube, fish tube, and fish fam? This is Rob with the Freeze Aquariums. Today I am excited. I am excited to enter the world of high-tech tanks. What I did was, did some research. I looked at a lot of different companies, a lot of different prices, a lot of reviews. So, the last review I watched that got me to pull the trigger on this was George Farmer did an unboxing from a company called CO2 Art. And he went through the video, talked about the quality, the ease of use, every aspect, showing how to hook it up. And the company is based in Germany. And when you say Germany or German, you think fine engineering. Well, folks, that's fine engineering. This is a solid unit, all set up, ready to go. Operating pressure, tank pressure, O-ring, extra O-ring for your connection between your tank and your regulator, bubble counter, solenoid, and your needle valve for adjusting your bubble counts. Dual stage built-in check valve to keep the water from coming back and damaging your system. Everything is smooth, knurled knobs. You can just feel the fine tuning. So now with this particular regulator, this is their SE or their Pro SE series. Their Elite series, the main difference on that is this manifold, this block, which it's simple enough that I could probably do it myself by removing this and getting the adapter and putting a second block on. The difference is it's got two blocks, two bubble counters, so that you can run two tanks off of one tank. So you'd have this line coming out going to this tank, the second bubble counter going out to the other one. Now I mentioned dual stage. The importance of dual stage is the end of run dump. Now I've actually seen several people discuss fake dual stage. The manifold is not ported where it allows it to be a true stage. The end of run dump is when your tank reaches a certain level, the dual stage protects you from gassing your fish, thus the end of run dump. What will happen is it'll get to that point and it will, single regulators, fake regulators, will allow that CO2 to blow right through the system and dump out into your tank, thus killing your fish. So the dual stage, and this is a true dual stage, protects you from the end of run dump and wasting CO2. Now also, I have the CO2 line. You're probably saying, well, why can't you use regular silicone or the plastic air lines? This is acid resistant. Over time, utilizing the CO2 will degrade your silicone and plastic, causing leaks. Now if it causes a leak in the tank, you have all this stuff preventing end of run dumps. Now you're leaking excessive CO2 into your tank, running the risk of gassing fish. You're also wasting CO2. The end result is you're wasting money. Also in the bundle is an inline diffuser. This will mount between your canister filter and your outflow. They do have the ones that you might be familiar with, the little fluval discs, ceramic discs, and there's also reactors out there, and they all serve their purpose. This one that I got is based on my size tank, and this is maintainable. So you'll have your line coming in from your canister going out to your tank, and then you'll have your line coming in to supply your CO2. Now the difference between the fluval ones and the inline reactors, or not the inline reactors, the inline is they go in the tank. And you want to make sure there's enough current in the tank so that it's dispersing the CO2 evenly through your tank. What they have is a ceramic piece that has micropores. If you touch it with your fingers, the oils themselves can clog up those pores. This one, you would just unscrew the top. They do recommend that you clean these regularly every 2 to 3 weeks. It runs 30 psi to run this particular one. The other ones I mentioned, some work even less, 10, 15 psi of pressure. So with this, you would just unscrew this, carefully not to lose the O-rings that are in here. I would use a straw, a skewer or something so that you're not touching this. You know, when you take it off, slide it on to take it out, put it into 3 cups water, 1 part bleach to actually clean out the actual membrane. So the major difference with this is it stays outside your tank. You're not running the risk, if it fails, blowing that CO2 into the tank. If anything, it's just going to leak from the unit. Now, another good thing about this is it's using your flow. It's going to disperse what they call nanotechnology, nano bubbles, throughout your tank. You're not going to have that 7-Up look that some get by utilizing those diffusers, all those fine bubbles flowing through your tank. Which that's really not a good representation, because I've got my air wand blowing water across the top, creating bubbles. Those you don't mind. Now with this, when the CO2 enters into this diffuser, the water's coming through, it's mixing itself into the water, so you're getting a nice, even, consistent concentration of CO2 in water as it enters into your tank, and it follows the flow. It allows your plants to capture and utilize the micro bubbles that you're not seeing because they're diffused. They're concentrated in the water now. So definitely, you know, something to look into. They do sell all these pieces at the CO2Art.com website. And then last but not least is their drop checker. Now with the drop checker, it comes with smiley faces, colors, and numbers. What does it all mean? It lets you know how much CO2 is in your tank. So you get the glass drop checker, the suction cup, and the reagent. Also on the reagent has a color chart. For those that aren't familiar with CO2 and you're just starting to get your feet wet, no pun intended, from my research, do not rely on these for instant readings. As with anything, it takes time for it to react with the amount of CO2 in your tank. Once you're set up and running and you're accustomed to the system, you've got your bubble count dialed in, and then you can kind of look at that to this and go, okay, we're good. But it can take hours for the CO2 in the water to react with that reagent to tell you what's in there. So some people may get concerned, oh, it's yellow, I need to get more in there, and start dialing up their bubble numbers. And then they get up in the morning or they come home from work or whatever. Now all of a sudden you're on the blue side, the not good side. Your fish are gasping, your fish are dying. So just use this as a maintenance mean, just to quick look, yep, it's good. Or, oh, it's getting yellow, maybe I'll check. An instant way to check is by using a pH meter. That's going to give you instantaneous results so that you know what's going in the tank. So with that being said, now everything that I showed you was part of the bundle from CO2 Art. CO2 Art. I don't know why I keep saying arts. It sounds better. But CO2 Art. This particular kit, the Pro SE series, as I mentioned, the only difference was dual manifold, single manifolds. The other difference is this has a 5-year warranty. The other one has a 10-year warranty. So on their site, this went for, I want to say, about $213. They were running a special. If you sign up over at co2art.com, they have a wheel, discounts, whatever, and in some cases you can get 10% off. So I don't remember if it was my Capital logo or my Capital One shopper, but I saved $33 and change off the price. So with the discount, there was no charge for shipping, and it came from Germany. That whole kit was $189.52 for a quality regulator and the paraphernalia that you need to make it work outside of a tank. I've seen other places sell it with a tank, and they run upwards of $350, $400. So with that being said, you can also, if you know, dropping that kind of money all in one shot is a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. They use Klarna, and you can look at the terms that they have. It's no interest, there's no credit check. You utilize your credit card, and then you opt for the payment structure that you want. So I think every 2 weeks it was $50-something, or you could do the next one and it was a little bit less. So that gives you an opportunity if you're looking to get in and not break the bank. There's another option for you. Another cost saving tip is I've seen CO2 tanks sell for $60+ and above, some even over $100. That is not even including CO2. That's additional. Did some research. I spoke to some folks here that utilize CO2 on our local Facebook page, and I got a lot of great information which I definitely want to share with you guys and gals. When I started looking on my own, because I kind of had an idea of what to do, buying the tank, getting it filled, I noticed that to get the CO2 filled, it was at a higher price. They gave me several names. I contacted one. I looked on the site on some other places, and noticed higher refill dollar amount. Not all of them do exchanges. Now, with a tank, you have to have it tested. If it doesn't pass the test, the date is too old, whatever the case is, you're out that money. So they put me in touch with a welding supply shop here. That's their business. They sell CO2, acetylene, oxygen, you name it. But being they're in the business of supplying this, they have to test these tanks. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about every time that you need to have it filled. You run the risk of disconnecting it if you didn't buy a second one, and especially at what the costs were, 2 or 3 days without your CO2 on your tank. They got to test it. Once it passes, then they fill it, then you can go pick it up. You're also paying again at the higher rate to have it filled. This company I reached out to got back to me in a day. They do exchanges. And I had mentioned a number 5 and number 20. They said, well, you have a special on number 15. It's $59.99. I said, and what about the gas? The CO2. That's all you pay. It's already there. It's already filled. So you're not paying $89.99 plus, more money to get it filled. the best part about the exchange, as I mentioned, they're in the business. They test that tank. There is no delay. It's like going and getting your gas grill propane tank. You can fill it and you can spend $40, or you can do an exchange and spend, $23, depending on where you're at. The other bonus is once you have the tank, you do that exchange. For me, it's $17.99 to get it done, and there's no wait. So I can justify buying 2 exchange tanks at $59.99. I've got to. Some of the research and questions that I've asked, people's tanks had lasted 5, 6, 7 months because they're not blowing, over 30 pounds of pressure through their tank. Their bubble count is slow, and they're achieving the results that they desire, and everything is working well. So now, tank empties. I'm not afraid at the end to dump because I'm running a dual stage. I can take that second tank and exchange it at my leisure and not have to worry about having it on the tank. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this quick video and gave you some options to possibly get into CO2 injection. I think for the price, this exceeded what I anticipated. I'll put a link in the description to take you to the website. You'll also see a link to their tutorial on their regulator. And I'll also put a link up here to George Farmer's unboxing video, so you can see how they use, over in the UK, fire extinguishers, CO2 fire extinguishers. Many ways to do it: paintball, soda stream with adapters, but with this you need at least 30 pounds to make it work properly. Nothing going in the tank but CO2 enriched water, H2O with a side of CO2. Nothing in there to go wrong. Everything stays outside. So folks, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And if you're looking to get in the hobby, might be a place to start. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great day, great night, wherever you are on this big blue planet. God bless. Peace.